Hi, welcome to Jargon Gaming Squad. Today we are doing RPG A Day Question, Week 4. We're going to be doing 20 through 22 right now, which is the Witch week when we're doing our descriptions. We have Nate here, one of the GMs, Emily, one of our players, hopefully one day GM.
Mostly human.
Chris here, noob GM.
Yeah.
And Mary, who's eating.
Hello! And one day GM.
And with a random Star Wars man in the background, too.
We hope so.
Anyways, guys, stick around and hang out with us while we go through some of these questions in the Witch category. Again, 20 through 22.
The first question this week is, which game mechanic inspires your play the most?
Ooh, can I start? Okay, so my Witch game mechanic, and I think this lies with most games, is randomness. So for me, that's going to be the dice or whatever system you use. I think that inspires my play the most because I can think for days as a DM. I can definitely think ahead. But the thing that really throws me off is the randomness of the dice that can influence the game for me. And I think that's what really inspires my gameplay the most, especially when I'm playing myself and I'm trying to play this really cool character that seems to be messing up a lot because I have terrible luck. I have to kind of find out for good reasons why my character, who is supposed to be cool, supposed to be adept and semi-competent, is messing up on every single roll. So I think that inspires my play the most. I guess that's what I would say for right now.
Cool.
So it's kind of weak, actually.
That's great.
The 5e was first coming out. I like that they implemented inspiration. Because for me, that was something that is like, oh, another reward system for good role play. And so even though since it came out, CM seldomly use it. I'm not saying that they're stingy per se, but it's definitely one of those well, I'm still gonna try my best to RP, but then that was really a motivation where I was like, ooh, a way to get advantage and stuff. I'm going to really think about my character and just roll with it. Anyways.
I guess for me, I think the thing that inspires it most are the character creation mechanics of any game, regardless of the system. I think I get more inspiration through that process of creating my character than anything else. I get excited about this thing or that thing that I've put in with this character, and that's what really inspires me. It's not so much whether I get XP. I mean, I like to get XP, and I like, especially with games like Star Wars and Genesis, where you get to spend the XP you spend it to level up. That's cool, but that doesn't really inspire me. It doesn't make me seek out, to do things in the game or influence my play. But I think it's really that character creation and having this vision of who that character is and carrying them through. And I really loved in Deadlands how you use playing cards. You deal out the cards, and then it's the value on the card and the suit of the card that helps determine what your dice pool is for the different stats, what the stats are going to be. And that's really cool, but I think just that whole process for me is more inspiring than any of the other things in the mechanics, any of the actual in-play things.
Now, do they have special, a special card set for that, or is it just a random playing card deck?
They have special cards you can get, but you don't need them to play, just a regular standard deck of cards. And actually, even the special cards they're just a regular playing deck that happens to have really cool Deadlands images on them, but they're just regular old.
That's really cool. So I mean, any
with the jokers, you have to have jokers when you play that game.
That is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. That sounds really fun. Did you do more things like that?
It's pretty neat. It's kind of a neat game. I didn't quite grasp it all yet, but it's pretty cool.
I don't know. I like that. I wanted to say, is it considered the magic choices and stuff. Like, is that considered a
Yeah, that's a game mechanic. Yeah.
Because I do like that. For a while, it took me getting used to, because when I was new to the world of D&D, I was a little confused how the whole magic thing worked, and then once I started realizing that this is how it works, and that you're only allowed to use a certain amount of it, and that your character burns out, or that you gain it like this, you gain your own personal power the DM gives you, like that. I thought it was really cool once I was able to understand it, because it involves myself a lot more into the game once I use my magic, which I didn't use it a lot with Hema, but I've used it with other characters I've had, or they're magical.
Oh, so it took you like a different character's one.
It kind of changed my gameplay ways, and like I started understanding how I can use them in situations, like different situations.
No, because magic can really change the situation. Yeah. Like how play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I don't get what he's getting at, but.
Well, I'm saying is there's a lot of situations in D&D where if you didn't have magic, it'd be a lot harder, because like Spider could allow a group of characters to be able to overcome.
So like certain situations, like the whole thing, like the rat going in the water. Like what did I use to get?
You used Entangle.
I used Entangle, and like I couldn't reach him if I didn't have magic. Like things like that. Like you become creative.
That was super inspired too. It's funny because that was awesome. Okay.
Next
question.
Okay. Question 21. Which dice mechanic appeals to you? Can I go first again?
Yes.
Sure.
I actually want to say that the dice mechanic was on my mind a lot lately, which is really funny because I don't fully understand it yet. But it's going to be the story dice mechanic of what's the game called?
Are you talking about the narrative dice system?
Yeah, narrative dice system. Yes.
You're a faker if you don't know what it is.
Well, no, I don't know what it is yet. I haven't done it, but that has been intriguing me the most. So it's been appealing to me because it's a whole new dice system I haven't known yet. But it seems really cool because it's not just like a random number that the DM sets, but the DM has to roll against you. So you could be really lucky, and you could totally win something and make it very narrative and cool. And that's what I'm excited for. I'm excited for that aspect of being able to be more narrative with the dice. Having these extra things is really cool too, because it sounds like I can still fail on the thing I want to do, but I can still succeed in another way by adding like a little extra buff or plus.
Right.
That's really, really cool. So it's not just like a fail or win, but sometimes it'd be like, oh, you win, but something else happens, or you lose, but you get a little bonus. So like maybe you don't.
Cool thing.
Yeah, maybe you don't hit the bad guy, but maybe you take off a part of his armor, or maybe you take off part of his visor that allows him not to be able to see as well. And I think that's kind of cool.
Makes it immersive.
Immersive. But I think that part's really cool, and I'm really intrigued to try it, because I've only ever done completely narrative-based systems, or systems like D&D, which is based solely on a certain number you're trying to hit, and if you don't hit it, you lose.
Yeah.
Now, like, if I were to answer this question, it's kind of a tricky one, because I remember when you and I were chatting about this last weekend, it was just like, I'm so like D&D fucked, and I'm like, I don't really have much in the way of comparison. But as Nate was talking, I was thinking about like my own kind of simplified system that I'm trying to put together for the kids that I work with. That's inspired off of a little bit of Warhammer 40K that I've played, in which I guess I'm not even sure there's so much like a mechanic necessarily, but I like when they're fighting. One of the things that the armies have is like you roll a set of dice to hit, but the defender gets to roll to like see if they save against it. And so even though you have like just a few hit points for certain pieces of armies, like you have a lot of like kind of back and forth where you have, it feels a little more balanced, where it's like you can die quickly, but you also have a pretty good chance of being able to save against the oncoming attack. And so yeah, I don't know. Anyways, I don't think I worded it very well. Just I like how that system does their dice. That mechanic. So I guess in short, dice mechanics to me, Warhammer 40K C6 rolling system, how they how they do their goals for that.
What about you, Emily?
She says, the question is, what dice mechanic appeals to you?
I've only really played D&D, so I can't, I don't really have,
So what's your favorite about D&D dice mechanics?
the one, if you fail, because you cannot change it, and you literally just fail, and that I think it's, very, also when you, that gauntlet I have a gauntlet, so whenever I roll for it,
yeah.
it's always,
Goblet.
randomized.
Goblet.
Goblet. Goblet. Blah, 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 blah. Tongue twisted tonight.
Your goblet.
Gobble.
I continue explaining it.
Gobble. Okay.
What are those?
Whenever I roll, I get a random number, which I think he either chooses it or he goes through the book to see what it is.
It's actually from Pinterest.
Oh, okay. So he came up with that, but it's pretty awesome because depending on my number, I either get a really good outcome or a really bad outcome. But
it's basically a table with either poisons or potions.
Right.
And the goblet is a random potion maker. So whatever she lands on,
But I think that's why I'm comparing it to the rolling the one, because once you get the number, you cannot change the outcome.
Right.
I kind of like that about the games. It's exciting.
What about you, noob GM Chris? What's your favorite dice mechanic?
I'm gonna change up my answer because the other day we had a similar question, and I went to the dice, which was the dice pool system, right? So another, I guess, a dice mechanic that appeals to me that I don't have a lot of experience with yet is exploding dice. So how that works is you roll, and if you get certain numbers on your die, I think in Deadlands it's when you get a 6, then you get to re-roll any 6s that were in your pool, and you get to add those. To I know it is in some other systems. I don't know specifically which ones. I think they might have that mechanic in the White Wolf. Well, I don't know if they're White Wolf anymore, but Vampire and Werewolf and that. I think they might have an exploding dice mechanic too. But anyway, I know that's a thing out there, and it seems kind of cool. And actually our second edition, I guess I do have a little experience with it. Our second edition DM does that with crits. So if we roll a 20, we get to keep rolling it until we stop rolling 20s, which sounds odd. But weirdly enough, we have 3 players out of the 4 of us, and I'm not one of them, who regularly roll 20s. I don't know how they do it.
Sure they didn't melt the side of their...
I tell you, it's crazy. They've had their dice, in some of their cases, they've had their dice so long that they know which ones roll low and which ones roll high. And they literally pull out different dice. In second edition, you have some things that you want to roll low, which is one of the nice things about 5th edition is it's all consistent. But yeah, so they pull these out, and I mean, one of the players one night rolled 4 in a row, and he keeps adding. He lets we get max damage for every 20 we roll.
That's crazy.
Plus, then we roll our damage and add that to it. So we can do, which is great. I mean, we're all really high level now. So, the things we're fighting, it takes a lot to kill them. So it doesn't end up being OP because the stuff we're fighting takes so many hit points. They have so many hit points anyway. So it takes sometimes a lot to bring them down. But it gives us those epic moments. Because for me, one thing that always frustrates me is if you roll a 20 and then your damage dice is a 1. So, I do something similar, but I don't do the exploding 20 thing. So, but I think exploding dice is something that appeals to me that I'd like to investigate some more and maybe get some more experience with. So,
right, we should do that.
Exploding dice? I could try it.
We should do that. I think we should do that. That sounds awesome. Okay.
So we have one question to go for this group, and then we're going to wrap this one up, and then we'll do another one. So which non-dice system appeals to you? So
Ooh,
Yeah. Go ahead, Mary.
very many. Because I don't play very many. I really want to take this one first, and you all don't take it. But, and I'm sorry, Chris, it's probably going to be yours. But,
Probably.
I didn't play it. But Dread, if I'm correct, the Jenga Tower game, am I right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was so easy. It was like the only game I could play. No, I want to take Dread. Wait. Did you guys play Jumps at Con?
Huh?
Did you get to play Junk at Con?
No.
Brandish's game?
No. But I think it had dice.
I know, I'm like, I think it had dice, so it's,
Yeah.
darn it. That's Dread.
No, that's a good one though. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't play it, but it, like, I remember going like, oh, cool, Jenga Tower, that sounds fun. But then I heard about, like, how if you make the tower fall, you die. And I was just like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness. And I remember watching people just going, they're going to die. Like, just that, like, and then when it fell, you're just like, ah! Like, I don't know. It just really brought a different level in as you're, like, concentrating. Like, your life, like, you're literally moving pieces, and it's like your life depended upon it. And so it's just like, I don't know. I felt like
And it
gave
did.
a different level of immersion.
Yeah.
But Chrissy, you can totally elaborate more on that because you actually played it.
Yeah, and of course it is exactly the one I was thinking of. I can only think of two that I'm aware of, and one would be Dread, and it's like at the top of my list. It's super fun to play. You pull bricks out of the Jenga tower, sometimes multiple, depending on the situation, and it ratchets up. Like the minute you have to pull your first brick, the tension's just like, and Barker is a magical storyteller. He's just a masterful, storyteller. And who I'm referring to, for those who don't know,
Right?
Michael Barker. He's over on Be a Better Game Master. He can also be found at Absolute Tabletop, and he's one of the hosts of the podcast Roll Up and Die. So if you're not part of that Absolute Tabletop group and you don't know who that is, go check him out. But he told a great story, and then he had an additional mechanic in there that, well, I don't know that it's additional, but I think it's additional. But he had dots, these little red dots on some of the bricks, and if you got a red dot, you felt the effects of not having some medicine that you were supposed to get, because it was a space thing. And I died from that. Like, once you got 3, it was over for you. So I died like just a couple turns into the game. I barely got in there. But it's super, it makes it super, super tense. So it's really, really, really amazing, and it's a very cool game. And it's great because, I know there's a questionnaire that you can do with that as you build your character, but we didn't even do that. He just jumped in and said, I need this, or this for characters. Which one do you want to be? You picked it. He told the story, and you just ran. So it's like the perfect impromptu game. You just have to have somebody who has that story to tell, and you're good to go. So, yep.
I guess for me, it would be, I don't know if you guys watch, well, for those who actually watch videos, you'll hear me talk about this a lot. For anybody else, the best way I can put it is called the Campfire Storytelling game, which is basically the story game that's been told forever. It's just where you and a partner or a few partners decide to just tell a story together, and this kind of falls back to the old ancient poets of old from Greece, where you just basically start weaving the story together. One person can either act as a DM, or you can do it together. But for me, it was with my brother a lot, Brandon, and it basically be like a D&D without dice. So I would throw him a scenario and explain the situation and ask him what his character would do, and then he would in turn try to tell me. So a great example is that he was a dwarven noble inside of a dwarven hold that was getting attacked. He was young and far too weak to try to fight back. So instead of trying to fight like a crazy man, he decided to try to kind of stealth away, and we had this really long, fun first game of him just trying to get out of the dwarven hold while he's getting attacked and destroyed. And so it's just this kind of like this non-dice system that anybody can play at any time, where you just decide to take inspiration from something that you like and you make a story out of it.
Mhm.
And this can be done anywhere at all.
I played that a tiny bit, when I first got with you, because you were
Yeah.
still doing the storytelling.
Yeah, I was still doing storytelling a little bit. You were.
It was a little fun, yeah.
It's not. I don't think this is good for big groups. Or
No,
for
it's
people
for
to understand.
small groups,
Yeah.
like storytelling.
It is a storytelling. It's a storytelling experience. So.
Like you choose your choices right then and there.
So what about you? What would be your favorite non-storytelling dice system?
Diceless system, not non-storytelling.
Sorry, the other
Can
way
I say
around.
something like video game? Like, would that count? Because I mean, your choices do count for your future. Like,
Which one?
like a video game, like you choose. I don't know. It's kind of like a weird.
That's a stretch.
I know it's a stretch, but like something like Fallout, like your actions have consequences. Like you have to choose, kind of like your storytelling. Like if you choose a good thing, you get a good route, or that could be the bad route. But it depends on your choices.
I guess that works. So because that is an RPG game.
In a way, and you're picking
It's electronics,
choices
but it's
without,
RPG.
without rolling dice.
And well, haven't you played like Munchkin? Munchkin.
Munchkin? It's not a storytelling.
Well,
Munchkin's Munchkin's like a card game.
But hey, RPG game that's non-dice. So that's a card game.
In a way, I guess you are like going against enemies at some point, and you're opening dungeons and finding treasures.
What made you like the game?
Huh?
What made you like it?
It was funny. You have to play it. Like there's references in there. You have to play it. But yeah, mine's a first rich. But I would say that because I haven't really played like a lot of like your thing you did, which you just talked about it for a second.
You haven't necessarily explored a lot either, so
Right.
it's understandable. It's all good.
All right. How about you read us our next question?
Newbie.
So
Yeah.
I was going to offer up one more on that, and that is Fiasco, which I don't know if people would technically consider it diceless, but because there are dice to set the game up, but they're not involved in gameplay, so I do feel like it qualifies. And if anybody disagrees with me, feel free to comment below and your point of view on it. But yeah, I mean, you roll some dice to like determine all the relationships at the beginning and to determine the things in the middle, but you don't roll anything to determine anything that's happening during the game. So everything's all improv. So I feel like that would qualify, and that's a really cool game. So like for people who want to explore and who, especially for me, those kind of games appeal to me because of the ability to just play it at the drop of a hat. You have a group of friends over and they're like, yeah, we should game. And you maybe don't have, like last fall when you guys were here, we didn't necessarily have the whole squad. So it didn't feel right to continue with our main game. So being able to pull out something, we didn't end up doing it because Nate had something else he was able to run for us, but we could pull out, Dread or Fiasco or something like that in that same situation on another occasion. So,
well, to bring that up then I think Microscope is a great thing to throw in.
Microscope! I totally forgot Microscope.
Is a wonderful world building session zero game system that is non-dice and that can be thrown out anywhere. And I think that definitely ties in because it can work with any game system actually. Mm-hmm. Because that can just set up the grounds, the settings for a game that you guys all feel included in.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can't believe I forgot about Microscope. Good catch. Yeah, that's a cool one. And all you need is you don't even really need the book if you're familiar enough with it.
No, you just watch the
You
YouTube
need some
video.
index cards or something to act
or
as
a glass table with some dry erase markers.
Yeah.
That's what we did.
Yeah. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, that's really cool. And it's great because, like you said, you can drop it. You can then turn around and use what you created in any system.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Well, so that wraps it up for this for this portion of this week's questions. Keep your eye on the channel for the last 4 questions for this week, but that catches us up to today as of the recording at least. By the time this goes out, it'll be late. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget it the thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed already, hit that button, and we'll have information in the show notes for you. Anything else, you guys?
Just get out there
Hallelujah.
and get game.
All right.